Is it smart to train through pain? Short answer,
Yes. Oh,
no, it's
no.
not. I don't think there's any scenario where it is smart to train through pain, to be completely honest. I think you can work around pain. I don't think you should work through pain.
To an extent. To an extent.
Okay, elaborate.
Well, like certain exercises hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of injuries, I still want to do them. I know it's not like affecting my injury, but like it's going to be uncomfortable because of the injury. And so I just work through it.
Okay, but if something's causing you like immediate pain, direct pain, impingement, a sharp pain, a stabbing pain, something that's causing severe discomfort.
Dieting.
No, we're talking training.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I don't think it's smart to work through it. I think what you're doing is causing more damage and you're stacking something on top of something, which is going to lead to injury. I think there's nothing wrong with working around pain, but not working through it. So let's take side laterals, for instance. Let's say we're doing side laterals and bringing them out in front of you more than to the side is more comfortable in the joint. But putting them directly out to the side of you, going straight side lateral, causes a click, which causes a response of pain, like a ow, 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 every time you do it. But then you slightly bring your arms forward maybe 3 inches, and the pain is gone, and the click is no longer there. Like that, to me, is working around pain, not working through it. Now, textbook form might say otherwise, but I just think that if there's a different way that you can do it without causing pain and still engage the muscles and still develop them without causing injury or anything leading up to injury, is much smarter.
Right. I was just trying to be a little smarty pants because it's like working out is painful, right? Like,
Of course.
like it's uncomfortable. So you're not always feeling the best. So some exercises are painful because, well, it's hard. So I work through it. So I was just being a little smarty pants. I wasn't meaning like technical, like, oh, my shoulder, it hurt. It hurt so bad I got injured. Let me just do these anyways. I wasn't meaning that. I was just being a butt.
Okay, so that's a good point. Discomfort. So
Yeah.
that's another thing, right? So some people, they'll train to discomfort because, like what you said, working out, it burns, it starts to hurt, it's uncomfortable. It's not a pain of like being injured, but it is discomfort, right?
Right.
So I think a lot of people, they train to a level of discomfort and they think like, oh, I've trained hard enough, I did enough. And then this big, huge thing right now, reps in reserve, don't go to failure, stop 3 to 4 reps, 2 to 3 reps shy of failure, I think is just garbage. I think it's absolute. I don't think you have to go to failure on every lift. But if you're not at least pushing yourself on one movement to see how much better you're getting and how much more you're progressing and how much further you can go, I think you're leaving a lot in the tank. Because if you always do, let's just say you do spider curls with the 25s for sets of 12, and you're waiting for the 25s to become light, to go up in reps and or to go up in weight, it's never going to become light. If you only ever use the 25s will forever feel like 25s. But if you start pushing up to the 30s, 35s, 40s, and it's difficult and it's hard, and you push to that point of failure, then those 25s will start becoming light. For instance, if you're only stopping at 12, but you could get 13, 14, 15, next time you come in, 12 reps, it's going to feel light. You're going to be able to smoke those 12. And then you push past that 15, you get 16, 17, 18, and you hit failure. Next time you come in, your failure might be 20, 21, 22. And then you go up in weight. And then now you're with a heavier weight. But if you're always like, nope, 3 reps in reserve, I'm not going to push past 12. I'm only going to use the 25s. I'm going to wait for them to feel light. In order to make 40s feel light, you have to be able to use the 80s. If you can use the 80s, the 40s will feel light. But if you're using the 20s, the 40s will forever feel heavy. So I think a lot of people don't push close enough to failure. I think a lot of people just get that discomfort. Then they, reps in reserve because of science. And then they just leave a lot on the table.
Hey, that person you're making fun of was me last week, okay?
Yeah, but also your
Really
training
deficit.
goals have changed from weight loss to muscle mass. So now you're pushing further on your training for muscle mass. You're no longer cutting. You're actually starting to you're still in a deficit trying to lose body fat, but now you're more in a building phase than cutting phase. So the training's changing. You don't have to be so reserved on the weights.
Right, because I would just pretty much go in there and do the same way like every single week because I was like, well, at least I'm in here, at least I'm doing something. I wasn't really like pushing myself. I was in that reserve spot, like you said.
Yeah, and whenever you're in a big deficit and you're losing weight, you're going to have to pull back on something. So if you pull back on the weights and you start using weightlifting as a way to maintain muscle mass, not build, but maintain muscle mass while avoiding injury, that's smart. Then when you start pushing the calories up, then of course you can start training harder and putting more into the weights. So that way you can get more out of them without having the same amount of detriment of fatigue. Because if you're in a deficit doing a bunch of cardio, you push too hard on the weights, it can affect you with your hunger levels, make you cheat on your diet. It can affect you on your cardio. It can affect you literally every other aspect of your life. So sometimes it's better to pull back on the weights when you're in a hard cut. Wait for you to start getting more calories. Whenever you start going more in a surplus, then start pushing harder because you can recover better because you're getting more food.
Right. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And then circling back to the training through pain thing that we were first talking about. Take, for instance, 2 years ago, I hurt my knee and my groin playing kickball with the kids. I was doing extremely deep squats and hack squats. And whenever I hurt my knee, it took me about maybe 2 months to be able to get back to actually training my legs. But training my legs like I wasn't possible. I couldn't actually do squats, so I had to start doing box squats with a high box. I couldn't do hack squats deep. I had to set a limiter on the hack squat so that way I didn't go too deep. I had to change my foot position on everything I did to be able to take the stress off the knee in a way that put the load, which the load should always be on the muscle, but certain positions that you could get the deepest puts more strain on the knees and the joints as it does the muscle bellies. So changing the range of motion, changing the foot position, changing the angle allowed me to work around that pain without having to miss any leg training or leg workouts. So my legs didn't fall behind. Couldn't push them like I did, but I was still able to push them hard enough to keep them up from falling back behind. Just like whenever you get any type of impingement, any kind of soreness, clicking, pain, or injury. And there's a difference between being hurt and having an injury. There's a big difference.
Right, for sure. I mean, like I've said before with my shoulder, and that's why I do a lot of my shoulder exercises kind of different because I have to find a way to work through discomfort. Well, I would say pain. I have to change the way I do certain exercises because it hurts, because of an injury. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, just like my pec, I had surgery. And I'm pretty sure I got some torn labrium in there too. And I'm not going to say injured it, but I definitely hurt it. Injury means like you definitely did something. You tore something, you popped something, you ripped something, it requires surgery. It's going to be months of recovery, even if you don't have surgery. That's an injury. Hurt just means like, oh, I tweaked this. It doesn't feel right. It's a little wonky. 3-4 weeks, I'm back to feeling normal.
Right.
That's being hurt, right? A mild strain, light strain. Something like that. Well, I hurt my shoulder putting up the carport, and that's affected my right shoulder, which is the one that I had surgery on for my pec. Mm-hmm. So incline dumbbell press have been bothering me, and shoulder press has been bothering me. So only when I go heavy. Now, my heavy isn't what my heavy used to be. No stretch of the imagination since my surgery. But doing dumbbell press, incline dumbbell press with a 70, 75s for sets of 12 to 15. It's a decent amount of weight. But if I stay south of the 60s, I could do incline dumbbell press.
Right.
If I stay south of 45s, I could do shoulder press, with dumbbells. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to keep the weight lighter and work on my range of motion because the best way to rehab any kind of injury or any type of thing that's hurt or injured is first work on full range of motion. Once you get your full range of motion back, then start adding load to the full range of motion. And then once you add load plus range of motion, you're recovering. First things first, range of motion, pain-free range of motion, as often and as much as you could do with zero load. Once you get that down, then you start adding load. How much? It could be 2 pounds. It could be 1 pound. It could be half a pound. Whatever you can handle for multiple reps, as many times as frequently as you can without causing pain. Discomfort is one thing. A little bit of discomfort is okay, but pain is something completely different. Then once you can start actually adding load back to it, you add it cautiously, and then you start building that area back up. And that's how I've always rehabbed any of my injuries, and I've always made full recoveries, except for when I needed surgery.
Right. I mean, and there's like an injury, like when I hurt my ankle, and I like tore it, and I was in a freaking boot for like what 6 to 8 weeks.
You tore your ligament?
Yeah, and it's been years, and there's still things that I can't do. Like the day to day, it doesn't bother me, but there'll be certain ways that I like, you know, a workout, or if I'm doing my calves and I'm like using my ankle, it still bothers me, even though it's been years. And it's like, what can I do to prevent that? Because you say like rehabbing is like, I use my ankles all day long. So how else can I really rehab, you know?
Well, with something like that, you have to work on ankle flexion. Plus, whenever you damage connective tissue, scar tissue builds up and it reduces range of motion, and it reduces flexibility in the joint, especially joint issues. So when that scar tissue builds up, it could be detrimental to movement and flexibility. So the best thing to do is work on mobility, like doing like a high bar squat stance real deep, and then shifting side to side on ankle to ankle, then working on ankle rotation, ankle flexibility. Stuff like that can help mobility temporarily to help you get into better positions for lifting and doing certain activities. But it stiffens back up pretty quick. You can stay on top of it, and where it makes it feel like it's back to normal. But if you let off for a couple of days or weeks, the stiffness comes kind of back once that scar tissue builds up. So the best thing you do is kind of what's called prehab. You're basically staying ahead of it before it becomes an issue, and you know when it starts becoming an issue because it starts affecting you and your mobility. Something like that is that's how a lot of my issues are, like my knees, my shoulders, my elbows, my hips,
Oh, peanut brittle.
my neck, my back. You know, I have to pretty much stay on top of all of it, and I have to work on mobility, because if I don't, I'll get really, really stiff really fast. Within a week's time, if I don't do anything and I don't stay on top of my mobility, I'll get stiff. And then the more stiff I get, the more things hurt, and the less mobile I am, and the less I can do. So I have to stay on top of that. And it sucks making that part of your routine, but as you get older, that's just a factor of life. Like, things are going to start creaking and cracking, and the fluid isn't going to be so lubricating where you can move around, where you kind of have to like, all right, hold on.
But you're working through that pain, aren't you?
Yes, I got to grease the wheels. Well, I'm not working through the pain. I'm discomfort, stretching, mobility work. It's discomfort. It doesn't hurt. It's uncomfortable.
But sometimes mine just hurts. Like just how I step out of the car or something, like how I put my weight on it, or how I do an exercise. But like day to day, it doesn't bother me. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, I think working out and strengthening up the muscles, and that's the thing too. Like,
but I want to have small ankles.
Well, your tendons grow, so do your ligaments, just not at the fraction of muscle tissue. They grow a fraction at the rate. But a lot of people don't realize, like, people that have back injuries and back problems that never work out. Like, I've never worked out a day in my life. Like, people are like, oh, doing deadlifts and barbell rows is going to hurt your back. It's going to damage your back. It's going to destroy your back. It's going to wreck your back. You're going to need surgery. But I have, in my field of what I do for my career, I'm blue collar. I work construction. And I cannot tell you how many people I have met, older people that have required back surgery that have never worked out a day in their life. I've never once worked out a single day in their life, but they had to have back surgery. Tons and tons of people. Working out your back, doing barbell rows and deadlifts will protect your back more than it will damage it. Because if you do it sloppy and stupid, and you whip the weight around, and you work out like, I don't know, like
incorrectly,
right,
you know, yeah,
poor form, right? You're whipping the weight around, you're snatching it around, you're doing stuff you know you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, you can lead to injury. But strengthening your back through barbell rows, deadlifts, any type of bent over movement where you're loading your back, it's going to help support your spine, and it's going to help get you strong in a bad position. When I power lift, I used to do good mornings. And the reason why I would do good mornings is because the good mornings is like a squat gone wrong. If you're on a heavy squat and then you pitch forward and the dump pitches forward and it dumps you forward, now your hips are extended all the way up and your back is bent all the way over. This is a worst case scenario. If you do good mornings, I'm not saying you can muscle that weight up, but what I'm saying though is it can get you strong enough to handle a bad position long enough for your spotters to help get the weight off of you without injury. Training to be strong in a bad position will protect your body and your back, not hurt it. People that don't ever train bad positions to be strong in them are the ones that normally get hurt in bad positions because they're weak and they never work in that angle or that planar motion or that. Like CrossFit gets a lot of hate, but I'm gonna be honest, the way that they move their body and the way that they do things, it's like they're bulletproofing themselves. Yeah, some of them get injured, some of them get hurt. That's inevitable. It's going to happen no matter what.
It's in any sport, honestly.
Correct. But you take any person that's an elite level CrossFitter and you put them on any type of blue collar job or any type of physical activity, and they'll be able to do the majority of it without having any issues the next day, or back problems or knee problems or hip problems, because they train themselves in bad positions with load to be safe in a bad position. Just like training the good mornings for a squat. That's gone terribly wrong. Same thing for that. So training your body in a way that's going to get you stronger by protecting it, like the joints, like even doing calf raises will help build up the lower calf, the upper calf, the tendons, the ligaments, and it'll help refortify that ankle to be able to handle load better and movement better. Just like training your back will protect your spine. Training your shoulders will protect your shoulders. Training your arms will protect your elbows. It's just the way that it goes. Like the more muscle you could put around an area, the more protection, the more stability, the more reinforcement it has. Now, I'm not saying it's going to make it impossible to get hurt, because you could get hurt. Just like shoulder injuries are very common, very, very common, just like back injuries, but you can prevent them, not prevent, you can reduce the risk of injury by training them to be strong in those positions.
Right. Like, for instance, like me, I always suffered from migraines and my head would hurt me all the time. I sit at a desk. I'm sitting down all day long. And you were telling me, like, your head hurts a lot because you have a weak neck. Remember you telling me that? Mm-hmm. And you're like, you need to start training your neck, your traps. That can help tremendously. And it's true. Like, how often do I really suffer now? I'm still just sitting at my desk because I've been working out and training. So I'm like preventing it from happening as much, or reducing. That's the word you said, reducing.
Yeah, because you build up your neck, you put up your traps. Mm-hmm. So like your spine, your vertebrae, your muscles would get weak from holding your head up in that position.
Right.
And then your spine would take over the load because your muscles got fatigued. And then the weight of your head would start causing discomfort on your neck. So building up the neck, building up the traps, building up all the muscles that support your neck, your vertebrae, and your head reduces the muscles from fatiguing so fast, which allows you to keep your head from hurting, because all the neck muscles in your neck is what will cause your headache.
Right.
So, I mean, that's exactly a very
solid point.
Prime example.
Yeah. Same with my scoliosis. My back hurts would hurt me all the time. And now I've been training my back and I don't really have as much back pain as I did before. And look, Yeah. It's another good, for instance.
Yeah. Just like with sciatica, people that have sciatica, if they build up their lower back and the muscles in their hips, it stabilizes the lower spine, it stabilizes the hip, and it reduces the chance of them shifting a vertebrae and causing sciatica. All sciatica is a shifted vertebrae that's pinching a nerve. It's not a nerve. The nerve is called sciatica, but the nerve gets pinched or inflamed from the vertebrae shifting. Mm-hmm. So the stronger you could build those muscles up around that area to support those joints, the less likely it is to happen.
Right.
It's just the way it is. And also working on mobility and flexibility. I
was going to say, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, working on mobility and flexibility helps out a lot too. That's a huge thing too. So, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Is there anything else you want to add to it?
Nah, I can do it another time.
Alrighty. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.